It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate on that. You may like it, may not like it. Declaration of Independence, we find these truths to be self-evident, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, of which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. He goes on in the Constitution to say we are putting together this Constitution in a preamble to secure the blessings, not only for ourselves, for posterity. And that Constitution followed with a Bill of Rights that enumerated those godly rights given to man, including the very first one, which was a right to believe in God and to express that belief anytime, anywhere, including the public square.
33 million. It's proven to the money investors that people want something to feed their souls, not just their worst desires.
Absolutely.
And
yes, indeed.
This kind of sums up my entire dialogue career on the heat of the night. You ready for this? Okay, this is it. My 7 years on the heat of the night. My dialogue all summarized into this. Get right on it, Chief.
Skinner, but above is my name. I like my iced tea sweet and my women the same. I'm your brown-haired badge here in little old Sparta.
Please silence all cell phones.
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Simlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
From NFL quarterback to Hollywood to the mayor's office, and now behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody grabbing out there. Nobody.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable. We are live.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KFT.
And welcome to Alan Autry, No Retreat. I'm old Alan Autry, and I was always honored and humbled to have you with us today. To my right is Mr. Robert Bullet Bob Leone.
Aloha.
And further to my right, I mean way further to the right, is my good buddy and co-host, Guillermo Moreno. Welcome, Guillermo.
I guess I am pretty far off the right. I'm not even on the social screen over here. You can't. I have no right arm. Look at that.
Yeah, this simulcast can get tricky. All those listening on old school radio love y'all.
Do I need to move over?
I think you do.
Is there
You need to
anybody-
make some more space.
Hang on, folks.
And don't get too close to me. People are going to talk. We're going live here.
All right, there we go. We are live.
We are live.
Is that better?
And I want to say again, thank
Okay.
you and welcome to our new sponsor, Sinlawn.
the most real fake grass, and it's kind of ironic that you have the most real fake talk show host. And Alan Autry here, your old buddy.
Well, he's not letting any sin line grow under his feet. I can
No,
tell you
I
that.
tell you that. There you go.
I'm like a rolling stone, baby. I tell you, we haven't heard. I know Chewy called in. He's been online for a long time. He is excited because Bullet Bob didn't make it last week.
I was
on
gone.
Tuesday.
What was
Chewy
that?
was not happy, and he is so happy you're back. And let's let Chewy on the line. Chewy, you happy? Well, thank you, Chewy. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chewy. Ironically, we criticize the administration, and Jill Biden, she's the first lady. We kind of hands off. We don't really, go after her, and
Not
she's
a whole
really
lot.
appreciative of that.
Yeah, I think.
And Scoop Johnson, was telling she thinks very highly of KXCS, even you, Guillermo.
Wow. I'm
and
honored.
Bob, and she, I think she's on the line right now and really going to give us a little word of encouragement.
Sí se puede.
Thank you, Jill.
That gets you every time, Bob.
We
That
have
gets you
a
every time.
well, just that's something special here.
I can't believe
We have something special with this show. We get the farthest right to tune in. Some people on the left tune in.
A lot of people.
Why? Because we are fair and unbalanced.
intentionally.
Intentionally fair. And
You know, the sad
unbalanced.
part is we're more balanced, I think, than a lot of news networks.
I know.
That's the crazy thing.
Hey, let me ask you this. Okay, starting. This was not on the notes I sent you all, but
Okay.
I know what you do with those notes I sent you. But each
You sent us
the
notes?
night before, I text these guys what's going to be. Here's some topics. We never get to them. But I was kind of encouraged because Dan Bongino said the other thing the other day. He was talking to his producer, Jim. He says, Jim, we have 10 topics, Jim, 3 hours here. How far do you think we get on those topics before we go off? How many? What do you want? What 10%? Good? 5%? 10%, right? Yeah, Jim says 10% we get through this. Because, I like to talk, he says. We get off. So we do the same thing. But I got to get, I didn't have this on the topics, but it does befuddle me. We used to have a segment long ago called Things That Befuddle Me. How in the world can you lift DNA off of a 3-year-old pizza and catch a serial killer?
Really?
But you can't get a fingerprint off of a bag of cocaine wrapped in a baggie, which is the best substance to capture that any forensic specialist will tell you. It is a forensic specialist's dream to find, to see some cellophane when you go to a murder scene or a baggie, because you touch it at all, it's just there. It's you could see it with the naked eye. But after 11 days, the Secret Service says, well, we can't do anything.
Inconclusive.
Now, when they give it up. Hey, there's so little here, we'll never find the answer. We will. Now, I know we spent 12 years on the serial killer, and we found it on the crust of pizza, but this thing's going to baffle us. We're never going to find. We have it narrowed down to 500 people, which they do. So, why do you want us to go interview all 500? It's just cocaine in the White House. My goodness. Next thing you're going to say, we can't have heroin or an atomic bomb in the White House.
Hey, I got to see.
My point being is,
Bob.
do you buy this bullet? And Guillermo, you guys go. And then what in the world is the Secret Service doing investigating it? They're not investigative experts. You get this to the FBI, the CIA. You bring in the Israeli specialists.
Yeah, right.
What is one of the most secure places in the world?
My bathroom.
Well, okay, the second most secure places in
Especially
the
when I'm
world.
building it. I like that thing. I'm not sure nobody walks in on me.
That's a good
You
idea.
should only do that once.
Nuclear blast.
It'd be done. Go ahead.
Area 51.
What is the
Call
most
Oppenheimer.
secure
Area 51.
place in the world?
It has to be Area 51.
No, Fort Knox.
Okay,
Still.
let me rephrase.
Remember the old
Area
adage? It used to be,
51.
no, where the money is.
Let me
where
rephrase
the gold
the
is.
question. Let me rephrase the question.
And Joe Biden's bunker during an election year.
All right,
You can't
let's
get
play out-
inside
that's true.
in his basement. That's the most secure. Reporters tried. Go ahead.
Would
Sorry,
somebody
the-
please
the
say the
White
West
House.
Wing? Would
The,
somebody
White,
say
the West Wing
I'm
of the
sorry,
White
Joe.
House.
There you
Bob.
go.
The West Wing of the White
I'm
House.
sorry.
So not
Chewy,
only
Jill
did this
has lost
thing-
control of the show.
Not only did this bag get past every known security
Now,
measure.
you're talking about the cocaine, not Jill.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Not Jill.
Well, I was just talking about Jill. And you said, "Hey, this bag." And we do not insult women like that at all.
We do not.
No, we don't.
not.
Go ahead.
But
I just thought you said that. And I wanted to
there.
save you that. You were talking about the cocaine. Go ahead.
The most secure place, one of the most secure places in the world. Yet it eludes all security.
Yeah.
Any type of security that can possibly be had is in that West Wing at the White House. Yet, au contraire, this bag of cocaine somehow mysteriously makes it through all the security clearances or whatever and ends up on a table just randomly there. And now, as you say, we really don't feel like pursuing this, so investigation's closed.
It'll never go anywhere. Go ahead, Guillermo.
Here's my analysis of it. So it was found, obviously, in the West Wing.
In a cubby.
Whose property is that? The White House belongs to the federal government, right? And so my guess is they're giving it to the Secret Service because who has jurisdiction over the building? It's not DC Metro, so it's not a local thing. It's the Secret Service. And my next question is, if this is a federal building that this was found in, don't we have an agency called the DEA?
Well, exactly.
That are experts in drugs.
Exactly.
Why wouldn't you hand it? I mean, it was a federal building. This wasn't found anywhere else. It's in a federal building.
I have never heard that made. The DEA should have been involved.
They should. And here's another reason
why.
Which
would have triggered the FBI.
Yes. And here's another reason. I'm going to give you another reason. They can trace coke, the quality, and probably where it even came from.
Absolutely.
So that's my next question: is once you find out, once you put the proper people involved, and let's just say it's inconclusive to them too, you should be able to figure out where the heck this came from. Like, did it come from Mexico? Did it come from the U.S.? Did it come from China? For me, it's a different thing, and this might sound really bad. I'd be really upset if it was Chinese Coke or Coke from Mexico, because that means you got. Think about it this way: you got drug mules running Coke or drugs to the White House, which is insane.
Well, the thing, you bring up a point. It's and come on, please quit vilifying folks out there, especially folks on the left, CNN, MSNBC, are good friends that just share this thing that if you mention that this issue that Hunter Biden would be one of the suspects involved in cocaine, that you're some kind of Alex Jones right-wing conspiracy nut. Get real. I mean, that's insane. Of course he is. That's why you would want to get to the bottom of this, to clear him, and you make a good point. It's either covering for somebody in the White House. It may not be Hunter Biden. Maybe it's a
high level.
It could be a high level.
Someone high level, yeah.
Because you talk about misinformation and fake news. Out here at CNN and all over on the left-leaning media, you saying that this entrance is where thousands of just normal people came in. No, it's not. That entrance is not. There's about 500 people. These people don't work there. They don't even have cameras there. So you got to have some kind of high-level clearance. They don't let just any Joe and Jane come in there. So you're lying right off the bat to cover for something, or you just don't think it's that big of a deal.
Was going to be my point.
And let me ask you these guys, how they're treating the border, and with fentanyl coming across, which they just said yesterday, between the ages of 18 years old in the United States and 49 years old, it is the biggest killer of that age group, more than cancer, more than heart disease, more than car crashes, more than suicide, is fentanyl coming across the border, this porous border. And he seems to be totally disinterested in it. And he's so disinterested that he appoints Kamala Harris to be the border czar, who does nothing. I mean, it's kind of... my word. They just don't think drug ingestion, whether it be with the average American or your kid who ODs on stuff that's laced, is not that big a deal. So why would it be that big a deal if you have it in the White House? Which begs, the normal parent would say, Joe, Jill, you already lost one son. And then through drugs, you came close to losing another one to the awful scourge of drugs. I watched Carol O'Connor's son, Hugh, my compatriot on the show. Got to be very close with him. Each year he would come back, each season, more and more ravaged by drugs. till he got to the point where he put one of his guns to his head and killed himself. And I watched Carol O'Connor go from a liberal to a very strong conservative on drug use because it took his kid. You got cocaine. You should be the first one to get out there and tell the people, I am going to find out.
There you go.
Who put this cocaine there?
There you go.
Wherever it leads, wherever this investigation leads. And you know what? He didn't have to say this, but he should be willing to do it. If it leads back, my son, he's going to be back in rehab before you can say Xi Jinping. He's back in rehab, just like any good parent. But instead, we see the enabling. Yeah. Oh, Daddy, can I go to the dinner with the Prime Minister of India? Daddy, can I hang at the White House? Can I do this? Can I do that? And I'll end on this because, and then you guys give me your input. But they've talked, they meaning the media that I've seen. I watch everything, so you don't have to. It's very obvious to say. But they're talking to former Secret Service agents, not just Dan Bongino, others, mostly through Fox News, mostly through the conservative outlets. And it's unanimous that the former Secret Service agents said they know. They know who owns this cocaine. Of course, they know how it got there. And the reason that carries weight with me, you don't see any former Secret Service agents being interviewed on CNN, MSNBC, or the mainstream media. You would want to say bring in somebody, a former, because hey, you got a military operation, bring in the general. You bring in the general here to talk about Israel. You bring in the experts. They haven't done one because that expert would have to tell them and the people, hey, after 11 days, they found everything they're going to find. That's how the Secret Service operates. That's how we do things. And you're not going to get a Secret Service agent who's going to say that.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
as far as
you're a lawyer in court, would you bring, hey, this is Joe Biden, this is Hunter Biden? You're not a lawyer. You know, shirt salesman, same thing.
They're very, very much the same thing. Yeah, here's the unfortunate. Here's the unfortunate.
That was already sold when I got involved.
Bring Exhibit A, the whole life insurance.
Unfortunately, I don't think it's kind of like I don't know why, but my answer is always the American people just don't care. Because I think if the American people truly cared, I think Joe Biden would be stuck having to defend this. But the reality is, there's no American right now that really cares about the cocaine anymore. Unfortunately, we have such a short attention span that unless it's right there in our face, unless it affects us, we're just going to kind of, just brush it under the rug, which is what they're doing, which is why they don't feel like and it's a big deal. I get it. Drug use is a very big deal. I understand it. I think the American public is extremely forgiving because I think we all know someone that's been drug addicted. So it's unfortunately, Alan, that's what I think it is.
Can you help me? I can't breathe. There's too much cynicism in the air. I'm choking.
Well, I think you
I'm choking on your cynicism.
Just being honest.
I think you answered your own question to us earlier.
Unfortunately, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of things. And lack of interest by the American public is one. Number two, if you're concerned about drugs coming over the border, if these guys are not concerned about drugs in the White House, how concerned do you think they're going to be about drugs coming over the border?
That's my point.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the big.
And you answered your own question. But I think it's a big deal. But hey, that's just me.
Well, it should be a big deal. It is a big deal, whether we want to recognize it. A lot we've become so lackadaisical, so apathetic. And Guillermo, like I said, Guillermo brings up points that, and I really respect him on so many levels. I mean, he's able to call out his own generation. I kind of call my generation out. I try to, including me, on some, beliefs that may have been long held, but may not be totally accurate. I mean, that's what the problem is today. You have so many people clinging on rock solidly to things that they feel are correct or whatever, whether it be apathy towards drugs coming into the White House or what have you, that you kind of just withdraw. And we can't do that because who was it said the sure way to, I'm paraphrasing like crazy, but the sure way to a dictatorship is for good people to sit back and do nothing. I forget who said it, but it's absolutely true. All right, let's take a quick break.
That was
we come right back. I think that was you.
Well,
yeah. This is Alan Autry, No Retreat. We'll be right back.
They say that all good
Things must end. Turn out the light.
Did you hear that?
The party's over.
Ron DeSantis is hitting the reset on his campaign.
Is he really?
Did he ever set?
I was going to say, when's he getting started?
Don't you have to have set before you can legitimately reset?
Trump blasts DeSantis for dividing the GOP. Oh,
Hey,
GOP.
I like that, the
Sorry.
GOP. I've never heard it said that way. The GOP.
Oh, he's got a million of them. Bullet.
Well, and I hope you guys are. Did you see the poster I put up the other day?
No, where?
It was my theory on life. Start slow, taper off.
Where's
Start slow, then taper off. That's the key to life, man. Hey, remember?
Don't they do that in Kermit?
Hey, Pearl, remember the Farrah Fawcett poster?
Oh, my
when we were in
goodness.
college, that everybody had up on there.
I had
on their wall. Farrah Fawcett.
I had a buddy. He was a doctor here in town.
I don't know who that is.
He played for the
You
Washington
don't know
Redskins.
who Farrah Fawcett is.
He played for the Washington Redskins in the 50s.
He honestly doesn't know. Look at him. He's looking it up. He does not know.
Farrah
Yeah.
or PH?
You know who Lee Majors is?
PH.
You know who Lee Majors is? The $6 million man.
So
he married Farrah Fawcett.
He wasn't even alive.
Yeah, but there's a thing called reruns. We got to expand his.
We got to get him into the 60s and 70s stuff.
Did you see that guy?
My point was,
Yeah.
this doctor I knew here in town.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
he took out Farrah Fawcett's appendix.
That was on everybody. What?
How was
He
that?
took out Farrah Fawcett's appendix in L.A.
Man, that's
back in the
probably
early
kept
70s.
it and put it on eBay.
Back in the early, he was a.
Oh, you didn't.
He
they
played
didn't
for
have
the
eBay back
Washington
then.
Redskins from 55 to 59. Oh, Eddie Sutton.
She let a
Great
former
guy.
pro football player take out her appendix.
He was a doctor here.
That is a lady that lived on the edge.
He was a great guy.
1 minute.
Can you make it 2?
Oh man.
Okay. All right.
Rootin' tootin'.
Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah, that was a famous poster. We had it up there a minute ago.
Yeah, everybody. That was the one that you had.
All the guys.
Iconic.
All the guys in the college dorms.
What would be the poster now for you? Who would be
In
30 seconds.
Beyonce?
When I was going to college, I think it was it was gaming more. They had like the
Reese
Halo.
Witherspoon?
Oh gosh, no.
Now, what
Oh,
would be the
Britney
female-
Spears was my generation.
Oh, Britney Spears.
Britney
Okay,
Spears, yeah.
Oh, also Raquel Welch in 10 Million Years
Yes.
BC.
That was him.
Yeah.
And then the guy thing was Al
10
Pacino.
seconds?
Yeah. Let me introduce you to my little friend.
He was.
Poster of him.
Oh yeah,
5
that
seconds?
one. Yeah, that one.
Scarface.
Yeah.
Italian playing him.
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Simlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
Oh, man, you don't have to wait to the midnight hour. Just midday, 12 to 1.
That's so
Alan
true.
Autry Show, and we're
So
here
true.
live. Don't you kind of admire folks to go live anymore? Because people can catch on to things, and you can't edit it out.
Yeah,
We are living on the edge.
That's why.
There's been several moments where I'm like, dang it, I can't edit that out.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
one
why-
word and you're canceled. Do I have kind of a death wish in terms of public persona of being? I mean, the public's been good to me, man. They watched my movies and put a roof over my head, food on the table. I risk that every day. I don't get a medal for that. Just come in live or something. I try to do it live.
We'll print you a certificate by tomorrow.
Please do that. What do you look at these water bottles? Look at what the water here. Now, there's Kamala Harris. I got a big water here, a little one. Kamala Harris. Go. See? Russia, big bottle. Ukraine, little bottle. Big bottle comes over and hurts little bottle. But little bottle gets help from another big bottle. It's going to come take lid off a big bottle and spill big bottles of water all over the place. So big bottle can't do anything anymore.
I get it now.
You get it?
Oh,
Okay.
that was pretty clear.
Ukraine.
But
All right.
you need to put you spilled water all over. Folks,
Spilled it.
going to ruin the equipment.
All right, the latest from Rootin' Tootin' Vladimir Putin over there in Ukraine. Let me just ask you this. I told you, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so.
I love saying it.
No,
What are
you
you talking
don't.
about? I love saying that to people.
Well, if the subject wasn't so dire, I would like it to.
Yeah.
I would. If what was at hand, what the potential consequences of being right on this weren't so deadly and disastrous, not only for the present day folks who inhabit the planet, but for generations to come. I would be gloating. I'm not. But I said this thing is unfolding over in Ukraine, just like Vietnam, and it is step by step. In Vietnam, they sent some advisors. Then they just sent some equipment. Then they sent some more deadly equipment. Then they sent a few thousand soldiers, then 50,000 soldiers, and then 100,000 soldiers. And it just kept escalating, till we ran out of Vietnam with our tail between our legs, 55,000 good, strong Americans, precious kids dead, countless innocent Vietnamese civilians dead, and as we handed over the country to communist North Korea.
You think that happened?
Same thing in Afghanistan, in Iraq.
American troops, you think it'll happen?
Well, here's my question. I mean, here's my point. He starts out going, we support you. We support you. Here's a resolution. Go Ukraine. Go kick Russia's butt. Yeah. Even though you have fewer people, fewer munitions, just it's a mismatch. Fewer everything. So Western Europe, okay. Then let's send things. Well, we don't want to send things that could escalate. So we'll send you some artillery. We'll send you bullets. We'll send you some grenades, basic warfare stuff. That doesn't work because why? Don't believe the reports. Russia's winning. Okay, so Zelensky says, I need tanks. Right after Biden says we can't send tanks. Well, because the Abrams tanks are the best tanks in the world. They are a difference maker. And, send these Leopard tanks from Germany. You can send those. Okay, they send the Leopard tanks. But Zelensky says, no, we need the Abrams. So, Biden finally says, okay, we'll send you the Abrams. And by the way, you don't know how to drive them, so we're going to send you some people to show you how to drive them. But don't dare ask for airplanes, F-16, because that would be an escalation that could really trigger Russia to use more of their dangerous weaponry and bring China into this thing and make India back off, make Turkey have to make a decision.
Yeah.
We're not going to send F-16. Well, guess what? The other day, here comes the F-16s, and we're going to send you people over there to train, because it takes a long time to learn how to fly these things, apparently, the F-16. But no troops. No troops. We're not going to have troops. Well, you saw last week.
You forgot cluster bombs.
3 cluster bombs. Okay, which is banned.
That's the newest.
Oh, Bobby, I'm glad you about that. Over 100 countries banned this bomb. We're sending cluster bombs to the Ukraine so we can kill more. And then that was a very good point. Banned by 100 countries, saying it's too vicious for normal war to use these bombs. And then you say, well, no troops. Well, 3,000 American troops are over there right now. They got on the plane, went over there to the neighboring country there, Estonia, I believe it was, Poland. So now we're massing American troops by the thousands.
Well, when you say it that way.
So my point is, does this not give Putin with his people, I hate to say this, moral authority after you've invaded another country, but does not this give him the moral authority to say, okay, I'm going to use whatever weapons I have at my disposal, some you don't even know about.
Step up the game.
I'm going to respond. How, we're unknown. I think even knowingly giving this man power and street cred in Russia and making him a sympathetic figure over there, especially when those cluster bombs start going off.
Yeah.
And you see the carnage.
For the longest time, I've held a belief that I don't believe American troops are ever going to go over there. I don't see it. I don't believe it to go and fight Ukraine, to go and fight with Ukraine. So I don't believe it. I don't think it's going to happen.
Why are they there?
But hold on. Let me.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No. But I also didn't think that we could have a pandemic and the government would literally shut you down, would tell you not to go to church, tell you not to go to school.
Pardon my interruption. I should
No. So
or go to the beach.
Or go to the beach or go anywhere. So I've learned now that you cannot say, oh, that'll never happen, even though we know you never say never and always avoid always. But never doubt the opportunity of a president to start some kind of conflict to improve their numbers or to improve their electability for the next term. So when you're looking at Joe Biden and when you're looking at this administration, wouldn't a conflict benefit them right about now? because when it's America against an enemy, Americans band together. So I think, unfortunately, this might be the Biden-Harris administration's insurance policy, to where if they're doing really bad in the polls, I would have put it past them. If they're doing extremely horrible in the polls, they say, well, you know what? Maybe if those Russians are bad, and the American culture has always thought of Russia really, being the enemy. What if we up the ante, send American troops over there, and you're not going to say you're not going to support the American troops. You're not going to support this president. It's kind of it's not like the W situation, but that's the way I think Joe Biden could remain president of the United States. We won't switch a horse in midstream. Am I crazy?
You're not crazy, but that analysis, that strategy may have worked in the past, but you have too many factors aligned that will not allow the sympathy and the emotion of the American public to get behind this war. It's completely different because you're facing post-pandemic world. You have now a limit to how much aid you can give because
Putin uses a nuke,
because you have inflation out of control. So the more money you spend over there, as prices are going up here, you have two corrupt countries fighting each other now.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that there's a racial element. It's a bunch of corrupt white people killing each other. And that just does not resonate well on the political landscape. You're not hearing pretty much anything on a drumbeat basis about this war. It's eerily silent as we talk about the cocaine at the White House.
You're right.
You talk about the serial killer that was caught. There doesn't take much to take your attention away. Zelensky, I think, has reached his zenith. He in popularity. He doesn't have the same effect that, the freedom fighter. When you were the president of the third most corrupt country on the face of the earth by United Nations standards, I don't think there's not enough money to finance that war. Well, it's going to continue to fuel it because you got to print more money to send them more money because we're out of money, which is going to inflate it. And too few people benefit. There's going to be some people get rich, the defense contractors, people like Anthony Blinken, Joe Biden, possibly himself, through third parties. People can get rich, but not enough people. And they're going to say, why in the world because the recession is just right around the corner. These massive corporations are laying off people left and right.
Yeah.
We are going to have a recession, which begs the question, why are you spending so many resources over there in this war that we don't even know who the good guy really is? Who are really the good people? We are literally had to make a choice, the lesser of two evils. That's not enough. In Vietnam, they were able to paint the poor little villagers being pillaged by communists. They were able to win that public relations war for a while. I don't know. I don't think there's a way to win that war.
That's a very good point.
Go ahead. Sorry. I think we have to backtrack a little bit and look at the reality of what's happening in the war right now. The big June counteroffensive that Ukraine was going to throw. This was going to be
spring offensive.
Russia's done.
Whatever. Yeah, we're going to unleash the mighty power of the Ukrainian army on it. Not happening. It's not happening. The Russians are dug in. The hardest thing to do without air support is to try and uproot a defensive position when you are outgunned and outmanned.
Very good analysis.
So the Russian army is dug in. Now, there are small incremental victories by the Ukrainian army, but we've said from the start of this fiasco that it's going to be a war of attrition. Well, it's a war of attrition because now some of the strategy from the Ukrainian army is not to send grand battalions forcing their way onto the defensive position. They're not doing that. They're doing this. They're doing this with small companies of between 15 and 50 men.
That's why.
Why? You know why? You know why they're doing that? Because if they sent grand battalions through there, they get them all wiped out, and they just don't have the manpower.
You're right,
to be able to do that.
They don't have enough people.
So if you look and Russia, we've said it before. Putin will get everybody he can involved in that war if he has to, just to win the thing. So we're seeing what's happening, Haas. We're seeing this war of attrition because this grand spring offensive is not happening. It's happening slower, and the United States and the Allies are not happy about that.
I wish you were speaking that into another old man's ear besides mine, Joe Biden. No, I really wish you were, because, Guillermo, let me ask you this, and then I know you got to.
Yeah.
Go ahead, get yours, and I'll ask you.
Remember the timing, folks. Remember timing, okay? Vladimir Putin decided to do this after the Olympics, right? After the Olympics, when him and Xi Jinping, they kind of agreed that when he was going to do this, it was all about timing, right? I don't think that necessarily Putin is doing anything to actually win it because he wants it timed perfectly. Because I'm curious, why the heck doesn't he just end this already? Just end it.
That's a very good point.
I think Putin is
he has the
I think he has the capability to end it.
Well, they have their election, I believe, coming up in 2024. So and this tied with these cluster bombs, these F-16s, plays right into his NATO wants to take Russia over scenario. And his approval rating is 81%.
Yeah.
In Russia. It's hard for us to sit and believe that. This guy who invaded another country. But you got to understand, you understand this. Your wife understands. She understands that Eastern Europe is different.
Way different.
They think they have a whole different history. Russia was invaded every 22 years for most of its existence. They are paranoid about, and we're saying, oh, we'd never do that to Russia. Well, they don't feel that way.
Yeah.
That's how they could get behind a Putin. They feel that he's the only one standing between them and Ocasio-Cortez coming in, instituting, their liberal agenda on a very conservative society.
Yeah, and I think I've said it on my show, is that my babushka, my grandmother that has, my babushka has an apartment that was given to her during communism. We still have it. It's in the family still. It's I mean, not in the best part of town, but it's in Latvia. It's in Latvia. So, I mean,
right in the middle of all of this.
You're right. You're right. I mean, you have these individuals from these Baltic states that don't necessarily have a bad perception of Putin. And you have to remember, they're looking at it through, well, those Ukrainians have been corrupt since day one. So they're looking at it through different lenses. I think Putin is probably, unfortunately, the smartest guy out of the Americans, the Ukrainians, and the Russians, because he is just going to sit pretty. And trust me, next year, when we're in a recession, when we have an election coming up, when us as a country is extremely divided, when we are divided, that man's going to say, "All right, now the cards are ready.
Let me
go in and finish this."
You're absolutely. I just get the feeling, as you say, and you're spot on. And my goodness gracious, Biden administration, Austin. Millie, please, you guys, just shoot the American people straight. You know what he just said. This little talk show host out of Fresno, California, just gave you a 100% accurate analysis of this whole situation. And for the sake of all the people that won't die if you see it his way and get to the negotiation table, please listen to him. Please do the right thing. Please do the morally right thing. You know dang well that when you send F-16s and you train pilots, to fly this complex aircraft, you're just lying to people, telling them they're going to be able to put those planes in the air, F-16s, and get in a dogfight with Russian pilots of MiGs that have been flying that plane for 5, 6, 8, 9 years. Mm-hmm. The veterans, like posting up a rookie against LeBron James in his prime, that they're going to win those dogfights. You know they're not going to do that. Yeah. They're going to get pot shotted out of the sky like ducks, in Georgia.
Yeah,
duck hunting in Georgia. It's this. You just don't know how to get out. Once again, just like Vietnam.
Yeah.
Lyndon Johnson, they got in because he said, "How do we get out with honor?" Biden's sitting there going, "I really don't want to be here. I see it now. This thing went too far. Putin didn't come to the table. China's still out there, despite their economy faltering. They're still behind Russia. I can't pull out and say we lost because what? Then I'm 0 for 2. I'm embarrassed in Afghanistan. We got out because I happen to believe that's when Putin pushed the go button. He goes, we're going during his administration.
Oh, for
if
sure.
If not now, when?
For sure.
Then just like what you said, then it was a matter of getting the exact day. But Afghanistan, was when he made that decision. And, you got to understand, too, the Russian people, this is the same Vladimir Putin who loved to be received well on the international stage. He's the one that brought the Russian economy back to a vibrant. The ruble was strong during most of his 18 years in power. He's built up a lot of goodwill with the people there. And he's telling them, look, this is an existential threat, this Ukraine. And by the way, seceding basically from the Russian Federation. Ukraine was under the orbit, where they had the leak, the nuclear waste leak at Chernobyl?
Chernobyl.
We said that was happened in Russia. In our childhood, that happened in Russia, right? Well, no, it happened to what's in Ukraine now. So they seceded from the Russian Federation. Okay, they had a right to do that. We feel here in the West, I do. But Putin points out, wait a minute, you're saying that we can't go keep part of our Russian Federation that's been part of us for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years? Yet your President Lincoln, when you had 11 southern states that wanted to secede from the Union, you wouldn't let them. You sent troops to what? To keep up? Yeah, it was slavery, but it was secession. They tried to secede from the American Union. And you knew you had to keep that union together to survive, you hypocrites. And by the way, we can't go in and do this for our region, but you can go into Iraq. You can invade Iraq. You can invade Vietnam. You can invade Korea. You can put your troops up and go into territory where you're not invited. I mean, these are the things he's saying.
Such a good point.
But if I bring this up, I'm a Russian apologist. I'm for Vladimir Putin, which is totally inaccurate. It's just, unless this world, because there's a movie coming out, folks. I know I've said this on the show. Guillermo, we'll all go together. I believe God
you
works
buy the popcorn.
I'll buy everything. The VIP thing. Great place to watch movies.
There's a VIP thing?
Yes,
Where?
man. It's huge. You get all the popcorn you want. Costs a little bit more, but you get unlimited popcorn.
Where?
So at the old Edwards Theater here.
In the River Park?
Yes.
Huh.
Big old seats. You get a movie, you can sleep through it like I do. But I'm not going to sleep through Oppenheimer, because this is the story about the guy who invented or developed the atomic bomb. Yeah. And I think it's going to be a clarion call to the world saying, look, we are very close to annihilation of the human species in any form that we know it today in terms of society. I encourage everybody. I haven't seen it, but I've heard the reviews, listened to people. I know the actors in there. It's Cillian Murphy who plays Oppenheimer. Unbelievable. What Matt Damon's doing in there, I don't know. They said
Robert Downey Jr.'s in there.
Robert Downey Jr.'s in there. And please go see this, because hopefully this is the wake-up call that is going to make people go, oh, okay, hold on. I mean, for the entire world. I think it's ironic it comes out at the same time as Barbie.
Let me ask you, are they going to allow it to be shown in China?
I have to see the movie. I think it's got a chance, because it's not going to get into Sino-United States relations.
Okay.
It's going to be the development of this bomb and the annihilation that it would cause if one of these ever went off. Because you had and apparently they pulled this off. This Chris, I forget his name, the director. Yes, great director, done a lot of great films. But people like Robert Downey Jr. said every other film that this man has done, Christopher Nolan, yes, was aiming towards this film.
Really?
This is, this is of such, not just brilliant filmmaking, for the message that it's sending to the world. There's never been a more important film.
Okay, you got me convinced.
Than this one.
You got me convinced.
So anyway, that's, okay, we're going to take, let's not take a break.
I want to go back.
Boss, do we have to take a break?
No, you're good. We cleared everything.
Okay, go ahead. You got some final thoughts on this before?
Well, yeah.
I give you guys a test to prove that everything's politics.
Okay.
Just a couple of things. And I really want to piggyback on what Guillermo said about, and what you said.
I'm glad you piggyback on him, because I couldn't hold you up. My hips are hurting.
I've lost
today.
7 pounds.
You look good.
Yeah. I think it was.
Isn't it easy for us as old men to just tangent off?
Well, you're still alive. Hey, you look good.
You go into a subject, we'll spend the last 12 minutes talking about my artificial hips, along with the artificial grass from Simon.
Which is good on the artificial hips.
Which is good.
Very good.
We just got to get a sponsor from Artificial Hips to go with our artificial grass. I'll work on that.
All right, I'll
work the thins. Go ahead, Bob.
I want to touch base on what you said about Putin's approval rating of 81%, because, and also your point, Guillermo, about how people think in Europe. Now, I've been to Western Europe, and I've got to tell you, these people love their country. Yes, there are factions within every country that are going to disagree with whatever their government is doing. But I'm telling you, these people absolutely, the majority, love their country.
They're
Why do you think
nationalists?
Ukraine is fighting so
They're
hard?
nationalists?
Yes.
Oh, gosh, those white
And-
supremacists.
Yeah. I mean, so their thinking is exactly what you guys have said, is that, hey, this Ukraine, that used to be part of us. We need to get that back. And there's never a qualm. There's never second. Now, again,
Are you talking about Eastern Europe?
Eastern Europe.
Okay, you said Western Europe.
Oh,
Let's
did I?
clarify.
Yeah, okay,
That's all right.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
sorry. But I think it still holds true there as well. There's a
Could
lot
be.
of these
Yep,
countries.
Yep, you're right.
A lot of you go to some of these countries. What do you see nationally that it sticks out of almost every home, every business? The flag.
Yep.
Their national flag.
Yep.
You see them all over.
Oh, yeah.
Where do you see them here in the U.S.? You see them in front of a grocery store? Do you see them occasionally in front of someone's house? You see it at the VFW hall, thank
Still
God.
burned to be able to.
Yeah, but my point is, these people are together. Again, there are factions within every country that are not going to be together with the government of the country and what they do. But a lot of these folks, their thinking is entirely different than the way we perceive, the way we think of things. And that's why he's got a high approval rating. And
who are we
Russia.
really? Yes, our senses are our moralities. You just don't invade another country. But again, Putin would say, well, you just don't invade 11 states that want to do their own thing. Okay, you're being hypocritical, United States. What's good for you, you're not ain't as good for us. You're imposing your morality on us. And the basic, you got to ask your question. Look, if we're going to get a negotiated solution, you have to understand how your opponent, if you want to look at it that way, thinks. And we're facing, this is just a starter kit for Taiwan.
Oh.
When that move was made, we have to understand, we have to, if we think China and Russia is evil, you got to find a way to coexist with evil. Because I guarantee you, they look at us as evil. They really do. The whole society. Gay
Depraved.
marriage, from the trans issue, from the adulation of celebrity, all of this stuff in this, they see as the destruction of the family unit, the whole woke agenda. They see it as a absolute threat to their way of life, and they feel that they're morally right. And you got to say, who are we to impose that? We can stand for that, but when you're talking about going up against nuclear powers, you have to. It's the world we live in as opposed to the world we wish we live in. You got to get to the negotiation table because that's where any kind of a peace or end of this world is going to happen. You're not going to run Russia back. They have the nuclear weapon. They can say, we're going to use it. And if you think that what's coming at you is an existential threat, if somebody's breaking into my house and they say, I have a gun, I'm going to kill you, and I have a gun there. I don't know if they have a gun or not, but they say they're going to bust down their door and come in and kill me and my family. As soon as that door comes down, I'm firing my gun and I'm looking for a spot to kill them, not hit them in the leg. Why? Because that's an existential threat, a threat to the existence of me and my family. I got to assume they're coming in to wipe us out. And when you have Germany killed 22 million Russians died as a hand of Adolf Hitler's nefarious actions, and you see NATO, which was organized as a military alliance, and the Soviet Union with their Soviet Union as a military they were combating each other. Well, the Soviet Union's military alliance went away, but NATO stayed in. NATO stayed in existence. And militarily, Russia sees all these countries' militaries building up. And you say, hey, like you said, you never think that this and that'll happen. That'll never happen. 9/11 will happen. A pandemic won't happen. Germany, they invaded us once. You have 22 million dead, but they'll never do it again. That's not how they think. No. It's too close. Okay, here, we got a few minutes left. And I have a theory, as sad as it is, that most people see things, they can't take the politics, their political beliefs out of themselves. They watch TV not for information, but for affirmation. You don't want to think differently. You watch Fox News because you want to see your views affirmed on that network. You watch CNN,
So true.
not to get information that's going to enlighten you, help you grow. You watch it to affirm, like our buddy.
Yep.
And okay. So I'm going to give you some questions which should be totally devoid of any politics.
Okay, got it.
It shouldn't have been even put in the context of politics. The only request on this little test is that you don't edit your mind. You immediately tell me your answer.
Okay.
Because you're going to get, I don't know. It depends on this. No, I have a theory. Let's see.
All right. So,
I got
so
that
basically give you the first thing that comes to mind.
Your first answer.
Okay. Larry or me or both at the same time?
We'll get both at the same time.
It has to be at the same time.
But you get it. Well, no, you get it, but you hold it. Be honest. You got to be honest.
Hey, Mo.
All right, here we go.
Larry. He called me Larry.
To prove.
So this thing's not going to work from the start.
All right.
First thing that came to my mind.
Okay. Who is more likely to be a strict father? A liberal father or a conservative father?
A conservative.
Conservative.
But how?
Okay. That's nothing to do
No
with
explanation.
fatherhood. But you're thinking right now politically.
Well,
that
the question was a political question.
No, it wasn't. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Politics is everywhere in our minds.
You framed it that.
Okay. Are you more likely? Who's more likely to call you a name during an argument? Liberal or conservative?
Lib.
Conservative.
Okay.
But
okay.
I'm lost. Sorry.
You're coming up with an answer.
See, he's an attorney.
Subliminal.
But you're telling
it's subliminal.
He's an attorney. He's got to explain everything.
But you shouldn't have a political answer to this. Liberal, conservative. You should say, ideally, well, that isn't a matter of being conservative or liberal. So my mind doesn't go anywhere on that, the liberal conservative. But it does. Okay, here it is.
But my two options are...
Who's more likely? Well, I'm keeping on this. Who's more likely to run a stop sign out in the country when nobody's looking?
Conservative.
Liberal?
Conservative, for sure.
Okay.
I would say conservative.
Who's more likely to give to the food bank? Liberal or conservative?
Lib.
Neither.
Okay. Is that honestly?
Yeah, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah, neither.
Who's more likely to go to horror movies? Liberal or conservative?
I think it's
both.
Come on.
Can it be both?
Yes.
Okay.
If you truly,
both.
If you truly believe that.
Both.
Okay, here's one. I know you got to answer this one with it. Who holds a grudge longer, a liberal or a conservative?
Liberals.
Both. No, come on. Yes, you come.
Okay.
Huh?
I'd say a lib.
Okay. Okay, you guys are getting quick answers. Okay. And folks, be honest. You're taking the test out there. You're listening or watching.
I don't have to think, so it's
Who's
easy.
more likely to visit their grandmother in the nursing home? A liberal or a conservative? See, you're getting afraid. You're getting shy.
Conservative.
I'd say it's conservative. I don't know.
Who can keep a secret better? A liberal or a conservative?
Man, neither. Neither.
If you had to pick.
Oh, man. I see.
Okay.
Neither.
Who's more likely not to repay a loan? Liberal or conservative? Oh, God, that's an easy one. Oh, of course.
Yeah, liberal.
The big spenders into your thing. You don't have to pay it back. Cancel student
Liberal.
loan.
Liberal.
Come on. That shouldn't even hesitate. You know that's in your mind.
Liberal.
Who's most likely to use profanity? Liberal or conservative?
Both.
Conservative.
What? More likely to
I say both.
Which is an anomaly. Because conservatism is more identified with faith.
Yeah.
It's in the Bible.
That's true.
But you see some of these conservatives out there.
Well, I'm just thinking of me.
Me too.
Okay, here it's got two more left. Who's more likely to call a wife to tell her that her husband is having an affair? A liberal or a conservative?
Conservative.
Yeah, I would say conservative. Yeah.
Last one.
Gosh, that's a great question.
Okay.
I know you didn't make these up. You found them somewhere.
I made them up last night.
You found them somewhere.
Nope, I've never seen this test anywhere. This makes you look deep inside going, what's happened to me? I actually have answers to these questions.
Oh, okay.
We shouldn't
True.
reflect the politics and liberal conservative on these questions of life, but we do. Okay, here's the last one for today. Who's more likely to hold a door open for a woman?
Oh,
Conservative man or liberal man?
conservative man.
See?
A gentleman.
We project
That's a
our
great test.
political thoughts
I didn't get it.
to pretty much everything. Who's more likely to enjoy a good old burrito? Republican?
Guillermo.
Yeah, me.
No,
Me.
no, you don't even like meat.
Oh, that's
Veggie meat.
Bean burrito.
Yeah, beef burrito.
My point is, it really shocked me when I sat down and got this idea. I said, you know what? Wow, I got some work to do because I do have some presuppositions.
Yep.
Some things about that I need to clean up. You know,
Yeah.
I really do. That's
true.
And I think if you gave this test to pretty much anybody that has any interest in politics, that's in a political party. See, I'm an independent. I can just sit there. Should put independent on there. If that's too much of a cop out.
You guys can't make up your mind.
Yeah. Oh, I have. Let me clear up yesterday. Oh, no, we only got 54 seconds. I'll clear it up on the show tomorrow. You asked about the Hollywood. We were talking about the artificial intelligence, the strike about
Yeah.
and artificial intelligence and all that. And I went off to talk about these extras.
Mhm.
That's part of the background players. Well, the reason there's this big thing on artificial intelligence, the studios want to take these poor people, use them once, create an artificial replica of them, and then just put them in the background of every movie. Pay them once and you're done.
That's not right.
That's happening in radio right now.
That ain't right. Is that?
Yep. They tape an announcer's voice and they use an AI.
This show was recorded in 1999.
When Oppenheimer wasn't even a thought in Christopher Nolan's mind. We love you all. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you. God bless America. Just do your best. Let God do the rest. And good Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye now.